What's up guys, it's me, Jeremy. Ever since Zz'Rot Portal's buff on patch 5.22 right before Season 6 began, it's been rising in popularity ever since, and has become a really popular pickup in both LCS and in solo queue. And it's no secret right now that the item is a pretty good option in a lot of situations. But it makes you wonder, does Zz'Rot Portal deserve a nerf? And if you enjoy the video, hit that like button, and if you don't, please hit the dislike, because if this video hits 10,000 ratings, I'm gonna do absolutely nothing. Anyways, let's get started. So first things first, we gotta establish why Zz'Rot Portal is actually good, because on paper, it might not seem as strong as it actually is. It gives 60 armor, 60 magic resistance, and some health regen, and the passive of some movement speed and the active to create this kind of portal thingy. And right off the bat, you see that it's only 98% gold efficient, which for a full-blown item costing 2,700 gold doesn't seem that good, I guess. But in fact, it's not that bad, because it's the only real item that gives both armor and magic resistance, other than Guardian Angel, which is a lot more of an assassin item and is really situational, and GA was overpowered in the past before it got nerfed. As well, since health and resistances scale off of each other, meaning that the more health you have, the more your resistances are worth, and the more resistances you have, the more your health is worth. So an item that gives tank stats will give you a little bit more effective health than it seems. And it makes the stats from Zz'Rot powerful once you already have some health picked up, and due to the nature of Zz'Rot Portal in the first place, you pretty much always will. Since the active is only really useful in the mid to late game, you're going to be buying it as a third or fourth or even fifth item maybe later on, meaning that the resistances that you do get from this item are going to be extremely useful, unless you're versus a full AD team, I guess. But the passive isn't bad either too, although it is situational. That 20% movement speed can be awesome when you are trying to tower dive. But regardless of the stats, Zz'Rot Portal is an item that is of course much more about the active and how you can make use of it. It's just worth talking about the stats because if it is getting a nerf, lowering the stats a tiny bit or maybe increasing the cost would be a great way to nerf it but still have the item be viable. Anyways, the active, it spawns a void gate at a targeted location for 150 seconds, and every 4 seconds the gate makes a void spawn that travels down the nearest lane and decays over time. Void spawns explode when attacking structures and ignore champions and void targets, and that active has a 150 second cooldown which is equal to the duration, so you can theoretically have a 100% uptime on the active if you time it perfectly. And the first and every fourth void spawn gains 15% of your maximum health as damage. The main use for this active is to use it in an empty lane so that it automatically pushes for as long as the portal lasts, which allows your team to group up somewhere else on the map. While with the lane pushed, it forces the enemy team to react or they face losing towers in that lane. When used properly, the Zz'Rot Portal active creates a reasonable amount of map pressure without really having to do all that much, and it's not a bother to set up to pressure that lane either. Since the portal has such a long duration, you can just use it in a bush and the lane will push guaranteed. You can also use the active in a lane that someone is split pushing in to assist with that push, or in a lane that you're sieging to help poke down the tower. You can also use it defensively too to help wave clear an opponent's siege or an opponent's split push. The active brings a lot of useful objective control and does a great job of pressuring the map when used to its fullest potential. And with League of Legends being an objective focused game, pressuring the map is really powerful, since if the enemy team does send someone to go kill your portal, you can force a fight or take an objective elsewhere on the map 4v5. And even if the person they send has teleport, you can still force a fight or maybe find a pick, since that person is going to be a few seconds late when they teleport in. And pushing your lanes out is a really important thing to do in order to help you take objectives. So Zz'Rot Portal brings a lot of power to objective focused gameplay. And because of that power towards objectives, it's had an impact on the LCS meta since pros play so heavily around controlling objectives that failing to take advantage of the options Zz'Rot Portal brings would just be a death sentence at that level of play. But the thing is that the item being good or strong at the competitive level doesn't actually make it worthy of a nerf at all. Something could be strong and not deserve a nerf, or something could be completely underpowered but still deserve a nerf somehow. Well, nerfs are usually decided on whether or not something creates a poor gameplay experience. Now sometimes something is just flat out broken and that's your poor gameplay experience right there, but I don't think Zz'Rot's power is of that caliber. So what makes Zz'Rot deserve a nerf if it does? Now the problem I have with Zz'Rot Portal is that because it lasts a long time, it's going to cause a lot of pressure, and if you place it far enough, It's going to take a tower if you leave it unchecked, and this concept of permanently pushing a lane without anyone being there via the portal is an interesting mechanic, but I'm not sure if it's completely fair. It discourages champions that can't really make use of that strategy by building those items without any meaningful trade-off really. The counter to Zz'Rot Portal is essentially itself, and that's always not the best thing. And because of the active, it means that both teams are going to have to spend more time pushing lanes and clearing portals when they could be team fighting or trying to take an objective in person. So to that extent, it extends the game time and helps promote stalling or drawing the game out. So all those things are reasons why Zz'Rot Portal maybe deserves a nerf. But let's talk a bit about why it might not deserve a nerf. First off, although the stats are solid, they certainly aren't overpowered by any means, and it brings an interesting strategy to the game plan of a team. Zz'Rot Portal is an item that you can buy which actively influences the way that you play the game and the decisions you make, which is honestly awesome. League of Legends needs more items that influence actual gameplay decisions. There should be more to an item other than just the decision you make to purchase it, and it's something League of Legends lacks a lot compared to other MOBAs. And Zz'Rot Portal is an item that helps fill that void just a bit. Whether or not you think Zz'Rot Portal creates good or bad, healthy or unhealthy gameplay, the fact remains that it does create gameplay in the first place, which is something I really want more items to do, and nerfing Zz'Rot might hurt that a lot. Personally, my biggest problem overall with Zz'Rot is just that the active lasts a bit too long, to the point where it becomes annoying to have to deal with. But honestly, that's probably the biggest reason why it's good in the first place. If the active didn't last long enough to pressure anything, you could just ignore it, and at that point it doesn't really accomplish its goals. So if it does get nerfed, I'd like to see at most maybe a minor stat touch-up, because any nerfs to the active will hurt this item's viability a lot for sure, and since I want to see more items like this in the game, I personally don't want Zz'Rot to be nerfed into unviability. Anyways, that's just about it. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.